Welcome to the Scalpel of Truth, the podcast providing cutting insight on how to rise to the top in the medical aesthetics industry with your host, Leisa Krause, aka the Bitch and Beautician. That's Leisa with an E, which stands for explicit, because in this surgical suite, she won't sugarcoat the truth, and yes, there will be some seriously salty language, not suitable for sensitive souls, children, nor pets. As a business consultant, Leisa shares the knowledge and lessons she's gleaned over 30 years in the industry. Time spent working directly with patients, managers, and med spa owners alike. Her practice growth strategies are sharp, her stories and wit sharper, and her panache for bringing the spice the sharpest. So buckle up, bichachos. Leisa is about to slice and dice another episode of The Scalpel of Truth.
Hey, bachachos, welcome back to the Scalpel of Truth, the no bullshit podcast where I cut through the fluff and get straight to the hard, ugly truths about the medical aesthetic industry. I'm your host, Leisa. That's Leisa Krause, aka the Bitch and Beautician. And let me tell you, today we are going to ruffle some feathers for the offenders of the offense. Today we're diving into lip flips and power trips. We're talking about those newbies who waltz into this industry with egos so big they can barely fit through the clinic door, but skills so small they can't recommend a skincare product without trembling. We'll tackle why these attitudes are a one-way ticket to failure, the problem with trying to run a med spa like a walk-in clinic, and that hot topic of employees versus contractors. Buckle up, bitches. This is going to be a ride. Let's go. Here's the legal part I need to read. This podcast is presented solely for educational entertainment purposes. Guys, I'm just your beauty business bitch. I'm not a licensed therapist or an HR representative, nor am I a lawyer. This platform's used to share my experiences with what's made me a successful service provider, a manager, and a business consultant for those who I coach. Got it? Beautiful. Guys, so I want to start with going over the ego epidemic. So I'm going to be calling out some bullshit here. Guys, this industry is fucking brutal. I love it with all my heart. There's nothing I would ever do besides this, but it is highly competitive. It is demanding. It is the most expensive industry to be in. And it doesn't give a damn if you've got an MD, an RN, or a freaking Nobel Prize in medicine behind your name. We want it to. We really do. And it's awesome when we have those credentials, but you're not in this industry just to heal people's self-confidence. You're here to hustle. It's a grind, and you need to show up every day, so beauty better be in your blood. And I mean, the love for the beauty industry is an absolute must. So when I see newbies coming in with this been there, done that, Lisa, I've been a nurse for 20 years in the hospital, so I'm the shit, so take a whiff. That attitude makes me want to start snapping necks like dry breadsticks. There is nothing more off-putting in my opinion. You've been nowhere and done nothing in the medical aesthetic industry until you've built trust with patients, mastered your medical aesthetic craft, and earned your place in this space. Let's break this down. The aesthetics industry isn't a hospital ward or a fucking walk-in clinic. It is a luxury service business that has a large aspect and focus on patient care. Sadly, most patients don't care if you spent 15 years running codes or 10 years in the OR. Unless they code at your med spa. I mean, they're going to be real happy you spent 10 years doing that. If they code in your spa, I mean, that would be tragic. They'd be very thankful at that point. What they care about is whether you can make them look like a refreshed, natural, youthful version of themselves, or like a snack for their next Instagram post. If you're walking into this industry with your union mentality and your clipboard, you're already failing. And it's so sad. I see this over and over. And this is all over the place. North America, Canada, US, terrible for this. This isn't only about following protocols, charting treatment visits, taking medical histories, and being safe as an injector or a laser technician. It's about building long-term relationships. It's about recommending the 3 key pillars of skin health and delivering an exceptional luxury experience. Let's go over why the union mentality doesn't work here. Now, I know some of you are all clutching your pearls thinking, whoa, Lise, that's me. I've been in the nurse for 20 years. Guys, I think that's fantastic. And I think that you bring with you an exceptional set of skills and knowledge medically to the industry. And I think that's awesome. That's not lost on me at all. Here's the thing. I'm so over people saying, well, I've done this for 5 years, and they inject on Fridays. They've actually injected for like 260 days if you've injected only Fridays for 5 years. So that's 104 days short of a full 365-day year. If we look at this, again, I'm no mathlete here, but 261 days, if you work 5 days a week, every week in a year, that's 261 days. So if you work every Friday for 5 years, congratulations, you've been doing this about a year. So there is so much inflating. Well, I've done this for, this amount of years. Have you though? Like, if you do the math on that, have you actually been doing this 5 years? Let me tell you something. If you've only been in this industry for a few years and you're doing injectables a couple times a week, number one, forgive me here, but a couple years, a couple times a week, you're not an expert. You're a dabbler. And there's nothing wrong with that. You can be a dabbler. You can be growing into this. You can be, I'm going to be in this industry and I'm going to grow into it where I'm eventually going to leave the hospital or my medical practice or whatever. Or maybe you just want to slow down your medical practice and you want to do medical every Friday and the rest you want to be in the medical aesthetic industry. I think all of that is amazing, unless you have a huge ego. And like I said, I am seeing more and more of this by the day. It is the biggest thing that pisses off employers and managers and myself. You can't come in here with your 8 minutes of expertise and have an ego. We got people in this industry for 30 years that don't have egos as big as some of these newbies. It's an issue. So I want to talk about why some of the contractors out there, because we do contractors versus employees, that's the great divide in our industry. So why some of the contractors out there are pissing employers off, managers, and quite frankly, me. Let's get into the nitty-gritty here. Some of the audacity of these contractors. I get texts and DMs all the fucking time. And they're saying, Lise, my injector uses her own logo on her before and after pictures of the clinic patients. She won't recommend products, but she uses them on herself. And she won't tell patients about our laser services or our membership program. And she's given her personal cell phone out to our patients. This is something I get all the time, guys. All of this is going to come down to what you have in your contractual agreement. Sometimes it comes down to your state or province, rules, regulations. But for me, what it comes down to is laying out a set level expectations verbally and in a contract to solidify the agreement for both parties. What's acceptable, what's not, what is agreed upon, and what's not. There are a lot of great contractors out there that go above and beyond. And to those folks, I love you. But there are those that have that union mentality that they are going to be a contractor. They're just going to glove up, waltz in, do 3 Botox treatments, and leave like they're Beyonce at a sold-out show. Newsflash, you're not fucking Beyonce. You're a medical aesthetic mule or a prick technician or a laser monkey. If you are somebody who is a contractor just coming in, gloving up, doing their thing and leaving, that is an issue for me. It might not be for some. There's some employers out there that don't care if the injector or laser technician gives out their personal cell phone number. Other clinics have an emergency phone line or an emergency clinic cell that is answered 24 hours a day that allows for immediate care for the patient. Say if there's a vascular occlusion or a laser burn or something's gone awry, they have a way to contact somebody at the clinic for triage or medical director or injector, what have you. I am not a fan of people having cell phone numbers of the patients and vice versa. Some clinics, the ones that typically are in the bottom half, making the top half possible, they don't care if their injectors don't recommend products or they allow them to get away with not recommending products. To me, I think that's criminal. It's a criminal offense in this industry. If you are not recommending to the 3 key pillars of skin health, to me, you're not an expert. I don't care how many initials you have behind your name. All of these nuances really depend on the clinic owner and how they want to run their practice. But if it were me, because this industry is so expensive and I would want to protect my investment as an employer, no service provider or staff member of mine would be allowed to give out personal cell phone numbers, because that's also a great way to lose the business when that person leaves to another clinic or sets up shop next door as your competitor. That's your book of business. Unless your contractor rents a room from you and doesn't use your receptionist, your supplies, your lasers, your website, your phone lines, your booking system, that means they've got their own business within a business. So sometimes it's really streamlining what is an employer, what is a contractor, and what is somebody in your business who is a room renter. This is another reason your non-solicit section of your contract needs to be ironclad. A non-compete likely won't stand up, but a non-solicit definitely will. The other one is messaging patients on Instagram. This one is a hard no for me. I would have a pre-done text that could be copied and pasted that gave the contact number in case of emergencies, or the clinic booking link or clinic number, so patients could get a hold of injectors, laser technicians, or the clinic itself. Social media is not a safe platform to talk to patients about treatments, unsatisfactory results, or concerns. We need to always keep in mind regulations and ethics, okay? So when we're dealing with patients, it is a medical spa hybrid. That's the space we're working in. So there can be some gray areas that are not specifically spa or loose like spa and not tight like medical. So we need to iron out what those things look like. For me, accountability is non-negotiable. Here's the deal. A good contractor who doesn't just show up, inject, and bounce, they add value. They give a shit about the clinic's success. They know the patients by name. They recommend products and laser treatments for best results and outcomes. They let patients know about ways that they can take advantage of saving money, like memberships or bundles. If you're not doing those things, to me, you're an industry parasite. You're just here to dip a toe in the fun pool of aesthetics. It doesn't actually mean much to you. For the clinic owners listening, if you've got these leeches on your payroll, it's time to cut them loose. Give me a call. Let's start making plans to get you some talented, revenue-generating business builders instead of those paycheck collectors. Contractors can also be paycheck collectors. I've got a soft spot for employees who are all in. These are people who treat the clinic like their own. They're not clock watchers. They are team players. They are hustlers. They're worth every penny. If you're building a business, you want staff who sees the bigger picture. Contractors who can get with that are amazing. I celebrate the shit out of those type of contractors. They're just few and far between. Those who can't get with that, the contractors that are like, nope, I shouldn't need to recommend product. I don't need to know anything about lasers. To me, those folks, they need to hit the fucking bricks. It's time to grab your purse. Today's your last day. You are not adding value to my practice. So let's go over why newbies fail in luxury aesthetics. Because you're going from medicine to luxury. I want to paint you a picture. You're in a luxury med spa. The lighting is soft, the air smells like vanilla and cold hard cash, and the patient expects you to treat them like royalty. They are spending luxury dollars with us. This is a lust, not a must, okay? Now, if you're standing there treating them like a patient at your walk-in clinic, rushed, impersonal, transactional, you've already lost them. They aren't interested in being treated by Nurse Ratchet. They want Glinda the Good Witch with a syringe. It is a very different vibe from when you're coming from the hospital or when you're coming from a walk-in clinic. And it's not to say that you don't treat your patients well in a hospital or a medical clinic. It's just different. This industry is about selling a feeling. Your patients want to feel beautiful, confident, valued, and taken care of. If you can't deliver that because your ego is too big to recommend skincare routines and laser treatments, you're in the wrong fucking business. This isn't about you or what you want to do. It's about them. This is another one that grates my cheese, grinds my gears, and makes me nuttier than a fucking squirrel's turd. It's the folks that dip their toe in the pool here. I see too many newbies dipping their toe in aesthetics like it's a kiddie pool. Bitches, this is an Olympic swimming pool, so you better be ready to dive in head first. If you're not willing to commit to getting the patient the best results possible and working out that sales muscle you're not used to, all sales is solutions. If you're coming from the medical side of aesthetics, you're not used to selling product. I get it. But you are all about patient care. Am I right? You want to provide solutions to give them the best result. I mean, you say you do, but then you let patients leave without rebooking or talking to them about skincare that's a protection of the investment they're spending in-house on correction that you're doing, or laser treatments. I mean, they're getting rid of their fine lines. What about their rosacea? What about their pigment? What about their acne? What about the rest of the canvas of the skin? What are you doing to fix that? An expert would know how to fix that and would know how to have conversations around talking about it to bring it up. If you need help in this area, I am here to help you. I absolutely am obsessed with teaching and training clinics and medical professionals on how to use that sales muscle and not feel salesy or gross. It's about providing solutions. I suggest you sign up for a Retail Rockstar workshop. It's the tits. Just ask me. So if you're somebody who doesn't want to talk to people about product or laser, all you want to do is glove up, do those Botox treatments, you don't want to have any other part of the clinic, I'm going to go ahead and invite you to go back to the hospital and wipe asses. Because the luxury medical aesthetic gig isn't for you. Unless you can find some poor sucker who's willing to be okay with you being a prick technician. And I know that's bold. You bet your sweet ass it's bold. But what I am seeing in this beautiful industry that I love is a lot of folks who are bringing down the level of expertise in this industry. It's a crime. It really is. Those who are crushing it, however, need to be celebrated like no other. Those who are the revenue generating business builders, those who come in and put their patient first when it comes to recommendations, those folks are my people. Those folks who are never offended by anything I say because they are on board. They're kicking ass, taking names. The people who are offended by some of the shit that comes out of my mouth is because you are the offender of the offense. So naturally, you're offended. Shocker. I love my nurses. The truth is, I love them. And if I look at it and tell you the truth around this, nurses especially have a fucking huge opportunity in this space. If you think about it, a nurse can do injectables, they can recommend skincare, and they can run a laser in most provinces and states. That's the fucking hat trick right there. It's the triangle of medical aesthetic triumph. I have been talking about the 3 key pillars to this business, which are the 3 key pillars to skin health, for over 2 decades. Combination therapy yields the best results, and every expert on the planet in medical aesthetic knows it. If I was a nurse in this space, I would perfect my injecting skills and learn as much about products and lasers and the benefits of collaborating all of those 3 things together to get my patient the best results. I would do anything I possibly could within my regulations, my regulated province or state. Y'all be leaving so much fucking money on the table because you're too good to learn how to do laser treatments or apply a chemical peel. It actually makes me nuts. If you did all this and you could take your patient and do soup to nuts, everything for that patient and their patient care, and you didn't have to hand off things to a laser technician, a medical esthetician, and no offense, I'm not trying to take food off their table either, but if I was a nurse, that's what I would do. Any hooter, let's wrap this bitch in a bow, shall we? My general listeners, this is where I love you and leave you. And for my VIPs that have already gone over to scalpeloftruth.com and joined Club Bachacho, I've got some juicy pearls coming your way for the after party. We're going to be going over a deeper dive on how to sell to the 3 key pillars of the practice and how to think like a luxury provider, and why 2025 is going to be your year if you can get your shit together. So thank you so much for choosing to spend your time with me, sharing this podcast with your team and colleagues, especially those who are amazing at shouting me out on social media and your stories and tagging me. I appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I love being able to shout you out back, so do please tag me. As always, I want you to stay sharp, stay focused and fabulous, and until next time, stay humble, and keep crushing it.
Going to agency, things stay